tolerance for much of anything. Trick opened his eyes and smiled. His mother was Korean, his father Irish. It made for incredible offspring. "You're feeding me before you kick me out," he informed her as he scrubbed a hand over his face. "Pizza?" she offered. He'd shown up at her door the night before with a large pie heaped with her favorite toppings. Micah, another coworker of theirs, had arrived shortly thereafter with what seemed to be a water tower of rum. She ought to resent the two of them for rallying around her, but she couldn't. They had cheered Rachel's younger sister, Naomi, as well. But today there'd be no consoling either of them. Today there'd be only regret and sadness, the same as there had been for almost 2 decades. Trick watched her, his smile fading. He knew what day it was. He wisely, kindly, didn't acknowledge it by asking how she was. "I'll cook. You grab a shower." She didn't want him to be there when she checked the mailbox, because she wouldn't be able to hide her reaction when she saw that familiar envelope. It was her private pain, but she couldn't make herself tell him to go. She lay there, silent, as he swung back the blankets and slipped out of her bed. She was able to ogle his lean, naked body for all of 15 seconds before he partially covered it with the jeans he'd tossed on the floor the night before. They hung low on his hips, the cut of his obliques on brazen display. He didn't even seem to notice, just fastened his belt and padded barefoot to the kitchen. Rachel lay back against the pillows, her hand sliding over the warmth his body had left behind on the sheets. This thing with Trick was becoming more frequent, more comfortable. It couldn't go on. It was too convenient. But they knew each other, had the same job. He understood that her life was busy and sometimes dangerous. She didn't have to pretend with him or watch what she said. They could talk about the tough cases, be honest about their shitty days. It was nice. And last night, she had needed him. Not just anyone, but him. She'd needed his dependable strength, his silence. She could trust him enough to be vulnerable with him. Which was why she was going to have to end it. Just not that morning. Not when she might be able to persuade him into one more go-around before she really did kick him out. They had yet to invent a better way of avoiding reality than sex. She got out of bed, grabbed her robe, and headed for the bathroom. Her left hand tingled as though it had been partially asleep. She must have slept on it again. She gave it a shake and wrapped her hair in an elastic on top of her head as she went. 5 minutes under the cool spray woke her up, cleared the fog from her brain, and rinsed the cotton from her mouth. She shaved her legs and under her arms, and then turned off the water. She toweled off, moisturized, and slipped into her robe. After breakfast, she'd spritz her hair with some dry shampoo and put on a little makeup to make herself presentable for work. Normally, she took the day off, but they were still looking for Sidney Cole, who'd gone missing 3 days ago, and she couldn't bring herself to take the time. Not when she believed Gemini had taken the teenager. Normally, she didn't use nicknames for unsubs. It was frowned upon by most at the Bureau. But sometimes one caught on. She used the moniker because it gave focus to her rage and her hate, her frustration and pain. She needed to call him something. She was getting close to catching the son of a bitch. She could feel it. Her bedroom was on the main floor, giving both her and Naomi privacy. They shared the brownstone that had been their grandparents' house in New Haven. It was convenient for Rachel for work, and for Naomi because of its proximity to Yale, where she both studied and worked. The smell of bacon and coffee wafted toward her as she entered the kitchen. Naomi drifted down.